Alright everyone, I hope this is doing alright. Welcome to the latest video here on Newcastle Fans TV. Now you've obviously seen the video title, Matheus Cunha. We'll come to that in a moment because there was some strange transfer links going around, which I will have a little look at from last night because some of them are quite laughable, but the Romano one, this is not the first time that we've covered it. Sam covered this Matheus Cunha one early last week and it's got a little bit of a bit of momentum now. Romano's come out and spoken about it. But before we do that, we are proudly sponsored by Match Bingo today. Now, Match Bingo, if you want to have a bet on Ipswich for Newcastle to bounce back, if you place a £10 bet, you can get 20 quid back. So take a look at this. So over 200,000 has been paid out already to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo, combining them into one brilliant app. Make sure you get your bingo card for the Ipswich game coming up next week. Click through the link in the description or see the QR code on your screen, scan that and that'll take you to the app. Bingo cards for this game are you buy 4 and you get 1 free. Alright, so thank you very much to our sponsors today, Match Bingo. Make sure you have a look at that QR code on screen or the link in the description if you want to get involved in a little bit of fun, but please remember to gamble responsibly. Right, let's crack on with a few bits of news. We'll start with the Fabrizio Romano one. Now, he was on a podcast yesterday, which was obviously the bank holiday, and he was talking about, and the podcast is called Market Madness, and he was invited on and he's been talking, and I'll quote what he said about Matheus Cunha and him being linked to Newcastle United. And I'll quote it word for word here. So he was asked about Matheus Cunha. Obviously, he's signed a recent contract. Wolves are staying up. They're on a bit of run of form. You didn't want to play Wolves at the minute. I think it's 5 wins from 5, isn't it? But this is what he said. Obviously, Cunha signed the contract deal and the extension, but there's a release clause now in there. So we'll read it first. Yeah, I think it could be a quick deal. To be honest, I think so. Let's see how quick, but I think this can be a quick deal because, as you mentioned, there is a release clause and all parties are involved, the player, the club, and they really want to resolve the situation as soon as possible. So I think it can be a quick deal. There is genuine interest from Newcastle. They really, really like the player. They believe it could be perfect for their style. So that's come from someone who puts his reputation on the line. Romano's obviously been on our channel before, and he's pretty much expensive guy to get because a lot of people do praise him for the stuff that he comes out with, and a lot of it is bold, a lot of it is brave. Don't get me wrong, there was some wrongs in there as well, because naturally, if you're putting everything out there, you will. But he puts himself out there, and he isn't scared to. So that's the information that obviously Romano has, that Newcastle United are linked to Cunha. But a release fee, pretty small. I believe it's been rumoured over 60 odd million for the release clause, which is pretty good for a player who was outshining everybody in that Wolves side. Let's not kid ourselves. But where would he play in Newcastle's lineup then? Where would he fit Eddie Howe's system and press? Now, there's a stat going around that Matheus Cunha is one of the laziest players. Is that the right terminology? Where he walks the most. He is the player who walks the most in the Premier League this season. So when the ball's not near him, he's just casually walking. He walks more than any other player, outfield player. So there's the stat for you. Would he then switch that because Eddie Howe, of course, likes to play the high pressing game? You'll have to do that. And where would he fit in this lineup? Would he play out wide? Or would he play in the central midfield? Because I don't think he's a central midfielder. Yes, he can play up top, and it'll be brilliant competition for Alexander Isak, because we all know that Wilson, with his injury record, will he be kept on? He's him and the 2 goalkeepers are the only ones who are left who haven't signed contract extensions. I think those 3 will be left to the last minute. Where would Cunha fit into this side? Yes, he could probably do a job on the left, cutting in with his trickery. On the right-hand side, I don't think he'll be as strong. He's perfect for the 10, but the problem that we've got is we don't play with a 10. It's very rare that we have a 10 in Eddie Howe's system. Would he be play? Is this a striker? I think it's a great fit. It's competition. It's a lower fee. And you've got European football, regardless of which competition we're in. Let me know what you think about the Matheus Cunha one on that, because I would take him at the club, but the only problem is where would he fit in? Now, a couple of daft things. I do want to mention them because I'm getting a bit sick of this, Neil. You'll see it all summer. Those lot of football inside have decided to make up just another one of their perfect rumours that they do. They claim that Newcastle are willing to allow Lewis Miley leave because of PSR reasons, despite No one's done the homework yet. This doesn't surprise you. Despite being in the best position for 18 months because of PSR reasons, Newcastle haven't spent any money, and they do have that 73 million dropping off from the 3-year cycle, and they haven't spent any money, as I say, for 18 months. There's money in the bank. No wrestling pun there. I know wrestling was on the other night, wasn't it? But there's money there. Newcastle will spend this summer. I'm pretty confident of that. They have to. They've got to spend. And the thinking that Lewis Smiley will be sold because we need to do it for PSR reasons. No, that is lazy. And it's not the first time from them lot. Speaking of lazy, Manchester World claim that Pep Guardiola does not want Bruno Gomes. No. He wants another midfielder in Sandro Tonali to replace Kevin De Bruyne. Make of that what you will. Tonali's not going anywhere on that. I can't see the club being mad enough to sell him when he's having his best season of his career, in my opinion. And then the Sun have claimed last night that Nick Pope is wanted by Leeds, who have just been promoted, which I'm going to touch upon that in a minute. But the package for Nick Pope is too much. And that'll be his wages, because I don't think the fee would be, because Leeds obviously got Carl Darlow, but Mila's not a great goalkeeper. But look, let us know how you think about that, especially the Cunha one. But I do want to talk about the clubs being promoted, because anybody who knows me really well knows I keep an eye on the Championship to see who comes up, because of the away days and all the fans. And Newcastle fans travel the most than any other side by even second places, thousands of miles behind. We go, well, I'm exaggerating, hundreds rather. We travel the most, more than any of the nearest club by quite some distance. So to get rid of Southampton, think how long that takes. It's 6 hours in the car. Imagine how much it is on coach. In 6 hours getting back in a car. And that's if you didn't stop. And naturally, Gani, because you're absolutely exhausted. Plus, with me, I've got to do video editing, playing my violin. So every time we play Southampton, I've done it for the lasses as well this season and the men. I've got to stay over because it absolutely drains us with the video editing on top. So get rid of them. And then you've got rid of Leicester. Leicester's pretty easy to get to. It just takes 3.5 hours. So it's still fairly long. But I like their way end. I really do like their way end. I've said that numerous times. So we're losing that, but you're replacing them with Burnley. It's all quite a get because you've got to cut across Rip, and then you've got all the mountains and everything. It's as slow as you do. So Burnley coming back, you can be home in 2 hours, which is class. And then if you look at the rest of the Championship in the playoffs, you can have Middlesbrough coming up, which is an hour drive. Sunderland, which is 20 minutes. You can have any one of those two. Even Sheffield United. I know they'll be disappointed not getting automatic promotion. But Sheffield United's only 2 hour drive, and that's straight down the M1. Then you're just off a couple of miles and you're at the ground. Already done that for the lasses as well this season. So those out of those clubs that are in the playoffs, Coventry, I would like to see them come back, yes, because they've been under hard times. But for travelling, not really. The rest of them, I don't really want up. The northern sides, and they're going to replace Ipswich, which is a bit of a killer of a drive. That's 5 hours to get Ipswich. Done that. Ipswich is easier to get than what Norwich is, mind, because at least Ipswich have a motorway. But there you go. I'm a bit rambling, but I'm just thinking of the way days, less miles, quicker to get home. There you go. And plus, you remember, we've got Europe next season, so having northern teams, it's just tick, tick, tick. Wherever we're going, whether we're going to Estonia in the Conference League, or whether we're going to Germany in the Champions League, whatever, whichever cup competition we're in, we don't really want to travel too far out, do we? Let's keep to the big 5 countries in Europe. That would be lovely. But back to the topic at hand. Matheus Cunha is the title. Where will he play? That's what I want to ask you lot. Would you take him? Or would you spend that money somewhere else? If you've got a different name who can play in that 10/striker role, let me know. And will he cope with the press? Let me know. There you go. And that's your roundup this morning. Or if you're watching later on this afternoon, there you go. Drop us a massive like on this video, and we'll see you very soon on Newcastle Fans TV.